Hello everyone, my name is Vladimir and today we're talking about giving feedback in the professional environment. If you're an architect, an engineering manager, or a regular developer or QA engineer, part of your job is to provide feedback to your colleagues, to your manager, and to other peers. So today we're going to figure out why to provide this feedback in the first place, how it's useful, and how to do that properly. Let's go! 14 years ago, I was studying at the university and working as a software engineer intern at Motorola. I had personal life as well, and I had to balance all those things, which I wasn't doing a very good job of. Once, my engineering manager called me for a one-to-one. She told me that me missing the important meetings of the team is not contributing very well to the performance of the whole team, to my own performance, and to my future career goals. So she essentially provided me the feedback on what I was doing wrong and what I should do to improve my behavior. And that played a big role in my career. And since then I improved my discipline and I'm trying to attend the meetings that I scheduled. So today we're gonna learn how to provide this feedback so that the person not feels offended, but actually goes and improve on their behavior. So why do we need to provide the feedback in the first place? First of all, it helps the person to grow professionally, do a better job, and improve their skills. Second, it helps the person to fit the organization better and be a really important part of the team. And the last one, the properly given feedback improves the relationship between the peers and builds up a better team. Okay, how to provide a proper feedback? First rule of providing the feedback is willing to help. You don't provide feedback because you want to feel better, because you're angry, or you feel you can do something better. No, you provide feedback because you want to help the person to do a better job and for them to grow professionally. Second rule of the feedback is that it should be objective. It should not be based on the emotions, rather the facts. So if you think that the person does not write very good code, it shouldn't be like, hey, you're writing bad code. No, it should be based on the facts. For example, one of the aspects of the bad code is the lack of error handling. So instead of saying, hey, you're writing a bad code, you can say, hey, in your code, there's no error handling in important places. If we don't handle errors properly, we have very bad consequences. Another example of the job performed poorly may be the number of the defects that you discover after the release of this particular part. So you can say, hey, each time you release a new functionality, we find very severe errors there, so looks like you need to improve on that aspect. And at last, the third rule of the feedback, it should be actionable. Again, when you're saying that the person is writing bad code, it shouldn't be like that. You should provide some actions that the person can take in order to improve the situation. For example, attend a course, or maybe read a book, or maybe try to practice on some dummy tasks. Okay, rules are good, but the frameworks are even better. Right now I will show you how to provide the feedback in the form of BOFF. Behavior, outcomes, feelings, and future. B in our case stands for behavior. So this is what you observe in the person's behavior and actions that they take. For example, you see how they handle the feature development, or how do they communicate with their peers, or how they handle pull requests, for example. And again, here you describing not the impression that you get, but some facts about the work. For example, if we say that we appreciate the very short pull requests, then if the person consistently submits the pull request of 500 or 1000 lines of code, we can say, hey, we want the pull request to be at most 200 lines. O in the BOFF means about the outcomes. So this is the direct consequences of the person's behavior. If we get back to the example of the very long pull requests, we can say, hey, your PRs are really long. It takes a lot of times, like literally hours, to review them. Then we come up with dozens of things that we want to improve. It takes a lot of time in our lead time to production, but we strive for the days or maybe hours of a lead time. So please reduce the size of your pull requests, split it better so we can review them faster and improve the time to market. We came to the first F in the BOFF, and this means feelings. So here you can clearly state what do you feel about the outcomes that happened due to the person's work. For example, you can say, I'm very sad about our big pull request, or I am angry because we don't handle the errors properly. That's perfectly fine. Nobody can object your feelings, and human beings who we are perfectly fine to feel emotions, so you can share them freely. And the second F stands for the future. So here you can share what you expect to be done in the future, or you can ask what actions the person will take to improve the situation. For example, you can ask the person, hey, what are you going to do about the long pull request? And expect a reply something like, okay, I will analyze the pull requests better, or split the work in smaller chunks so that the pull requests are smaller and everybody will be happy. So with this technique, with BOFF, behavior, outcomes, feelings, and future, you can really provide a constructive feedback for your peer and expect some actions that can be taken so the situation is improved. And this is the goal of the feedback, right? Okay, and the last part for today is the written feedback. So in many companies, there's a procedure called 360 feedback. That means the feedback from your manager, from your direct reports, and from your peers. And as we're approaching the end of the year, in many companies, those rounds are inbound. So you will be expected to write some feedbacks for your peers. And here, all the rules that we discussed about giving the feedback are applied. So how do you write a proper written feedback? First of all, I want to start with the positive things. Please really highlight what the person has done great. All the human beings really appreciate their achievements, and this is a good time to highlight them. Tell them they completed some complex feature very well, or they conducted complex but successful negotiations. Appraise their achievements and, give them this appraisal. Don't forget that this appraisal should come with facts as well. So don't write like, I feel the person is doing a good job. No, provide examples. Say, hey, the person really handles this new integration very well. Or the negotiation was very successful and the business impact was several millions of euros of income for the next year, etc., etc. I'm really sure you can come up with proper facts. Okay, once you're done with the positive points, it's time to talk about the negative ones. But please don't formulate them as like, hey, this person screwed up. Every person have their gaps in their professional development, you and me as well, everybody. So when we're talking about the feedback, especially about the negative feedback, we want to formulate as an area for improvement. Don't say the person is writing a bad code. Say, hey, I would appreciate more error handling in that code. And again, make this feedback actionable. For example, suggest to read a code complete, or maybe doing some exercises, or reading more codes of their colleagues. So make it actionable. At last, iterate of the 3 or 4 points. So please try to provide a couple of points of the achievements in your written feedback. Provide 3 or 4 points for the areas of improvements, suggest the action points that can be taken to improve the situation, and please remember, you're doing the feedback to help your colleague, not to feel better. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much. If you like the content, please subscribe on the channel, and thank you very much for your attention. See ya!